Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Geekverse Podcast. I am one of your hosts, The Origins, Taylor Field, and I'm joined by,
Hey, my name is Dylan Muss.
yes, we are here continuing our journey into Derry with the official It Season 1. And before we get into that, though, a couple of plugs. You can find us with the internet connection in the search bar. Geekverse.ca is our home base. Geekversecast is our Twitter. Geekverse is our Facebook. Wow, lots of stuff has popped off. We had Extra Life, our successful charity stream. Thank you
Yeah.
everyone who tuned into that and supported it. And just, oh my gosh, all the stuff it's available, but Travis is doing quick reel cuts and stuff like that, so you'll be able to tune in and watch all the like more direct stuff. What
hmm
else did we got? We did a Running Man review, me and Kirkland. There's Predator Badlands reviews and stuff, and yeah, there's always something going on. What's the latest in side quest there, Dylan, this week?
yeah, next day. Yeah, tomorrow is the other word I was looking for. Me and Travis are doing side quests. We're going to be talking about the new Steam hardware that was announced. There was a state of play that happened. So yeah, should be a juicy episode as always.
Nice. Lots of juice. Yeah. So there's always something to check out. And I mean, speaking of places to check out, you got to check out that Patreon. You can get ad free,
Mm-hmm.
early,
Oh,
exclusive
I love it
content.
there.
Oh, it's great. Everyone loves
Whenever I
it
need to
there. It's so good.
relax, chill out, I just go over there, just lurk around for a little bit, and I just feel soothed to the core. No
You
ads, just
you and
prime,
all
good
of
good
these
hanging.
the Patreon producers all having prime good hanging. Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superbad Mike, Good God Loves Me 69, Charlie Randall, Cocktail Clay, John with no H, Sam Green. Oh my goodness. You're all just soothing over there.
hmm
Um so yeah, I'm curious to get your thoughts on last week's episode. Now we'll just start kind of like non-spoilers first and then get into it, but feel free to just enlighten us on how you felt with the previous episode.
hmm Yeah, it's funny too because we were all of us on the first episode, and then the second episode you were away. Last episode I was away. This episode Travis is away. So yeah, I feel like we're kind of playing like ring around the rosy here, of like who's going to be on what episode. So maybe next week I'll be back. But yeah, it's been extremely bar graph chart going up and down for me where I really did enjoy that first episode. Second episode I didn't really enjoy that much, which yeah, you weren't on that episode, but yeah, I was not really a big fan of that. And then the third episode, which I also just watched today, I actually really enjoyed that one for the most part. So we're back up in a positive swing. I liked everything about that episode except for the just awful CGI of the bike graveyard sequence, which Travis mentioned on the episode. But then this week I'm back down again. I didn't really enjoy this one a whole lot. So I don't know. This show is very, I don't know. It's I guess on either end of the spectrum for me. And so hopefully it can kind of round out in these next four episodes and be a little more consistent. This episode is doing a lot. It's all over the place. There's all sorts of stuff, a lot of exposition. Every storyline's doing some things here or there. There's one storyline that I'm pretty engaged with now, especially after what was going on in episode 3. But then some of the other ones are kind of dragging their heels for me, and I hate to be that guy, but going back to something I think I said in the first episode is like I just think the acting quality of some of the younger actors here is not great, and this episode really stood out for me in that way. Just certain sequences feeling kind of cheesy, and then yeah, similar to the bike sequence from last week's episode. I thought the CGI in this episode was really bad. Like almost every sequence I thought looked really cheap, really goofy, and just like one of them was like something stripped right out of Spy Kids. Like it was not good at all, and so that's a kind of disappointing. I mean, it's fun that every episode we are getting scares and set pieces and new creatures and stuff, but when the quality of the CGI is not quite there, it feels like the budget was maybe spread a bit too thin on this piece of bread here. That's a little bit disappointing. So unfortunately for me, I didn't really get any good scares for me in this episode because everything just looked a little too goofy. But yeah, I think there is still some fun things to be had in this episode because there's just a lot going on. So yeah, it should still be a fun time to talk about.
Yeah. Uh yeah, for me, this show is just going up and up and up. I'm drinking the punch, the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it.
Ooh.
I've been enjoying it, and this episode was really fantastic. Uh, one s- there's one specific character I think that's just making this show much more potent for me and better and everything that I'm really just eating up, and I'll highlight that when we get into the spoilers. Yeah, I'm all in right now. It's been a really, really enjoyable watch. I'm really excited for it. And this episode for sure had one moment that just like, something's coming, but I felt the goosebumps. The hairs immediately stood up on my arms. Like, oh, this is great. This is really good. And I mentioned this last week with Travis. I think it was Superbad Mike or it was SBubs in the Discord. They highlighted how much screen time the first four episodes Skarsgård actually is there in the clown costume.
Hmm.
And it's not much. It's like seconds. But I'm totally okay with that. I think everything that we've gotten, some very questionable CGI, like you highlighted. The bike scene was like it was like out of the Haunted Mansion ride or something like that. It
Yeah.
was very questionable. So I'm not all there for that. But I appreciate them not just slapping Skarsgård, Pennywise right in your face. It's like keep him on the back burner and just stew on that for a little bit and just have fun with the psychological aspect, which I'm really liking because you get a lot of him in the movies. So we have that version of him. And so I'm actually really thankful to see this other
Okay.
light of the character, this other side where he's really just playing the cards a little bit. And in the movies, yes, he does play things mentally a lot, but I feel like there's just a different beat here with one of our kid characters in this episode where I'm just thinking, where is this gonna go? Where's this gonna go? Why is this happening like this? And then at the end of this narrative that just happened, it's like, oh, Pennywise, you son of a bitch, you know how to play the field here. So yeah, it's so far been a really, really delightful. But
Hmm.
yeah. Anything else you got?
Non-spoiler wise, no, I don't think so.
All right. Well, let's do some spoilers then right now. And where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with your boy Halloran because that's who you were talking about a lot last week. That's who I think you were
Oh
hinting
yeah.
at again this time. Because yeah, I when me and Travis talked on episode 2, I didn't really have any feelings developed yet on that character just because it felt like we didn't really get a whole lot in that episode. It's more just kind of the name, the quick introduction. But I feel like with 3 and 4, it's really gone like, oh, he's just like one of the main like A plots that were gone. Like there's a lot going on in this show, a lot of different characters with different motivations and different places, but he's just getting a ton of screen time between these 2 episodes. And yeah, I really like it too. And for me, it's kind of less about the Shining connection with that character because I've seen The Shining. We did that episode recently, but for me, it's just like even in isolation, what's going on here, I think is pretty interesting because obviously there isn't really anyone else quite like him who has these powers in this world. Maybe like other characters are like slightly hinted at it, but in terms of the stuff he's doing here, some of this like even goes even beyond what kind of happens in The Shining, right? Like we got a whole sequence where he just like invaded someone's mind for like 15 minutes and learned like their whole upbringing pretty much. So it's pretty crazy stuff. But then we also see like, what do you think is going on here with him? Kind of finding this hidden base that's kind of in the middle of nowhere. He brings his homies there, and they're like going to set this up as like a little station, but like they intentionally want it to be kind of like a hidden spot. So I don't really know where that part of the storyline is going. I don't know what you thought about that sequence.
Well, I mean, it comes from like the general, right? Mr. Dexter father, Harry, right? He's like, oh, I'll hook you up with the place. It's decommissioned. You go out there, and boys will be boys, kind of a thing, right? So, I feel like you're.
But that doesn't really make for a TV show though. Like they got to be doing something there. It's not like we're just gonna have them like playing poker and drinking beer there, right? There's got to be something more to it.
I think I think you probably get a little bit of a sequence of them having a good time hanging out, doing whatever. But I think it's going to conclude rather rapidly once things like shit hits the fan, or maybe that's one of the burial locations. Maybe it just happens to be underneath that house, and that's
Right.
where things are going to get really, really crazy and climactic, and things are going to kind of converge right there, right? So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But Halloran as a character, he's just the thing that gets me super excited is I can finish watching this show and then I could put on The Shining and be like, in my head, I can headcanon, oh, direct sequel, even though it's just the same character, but very different stories. But I'm really liking everything that he's up to and he's doing. And last week just gave me the chills, the heebie-jeebies when he's touching that slingshot goes into like Pennywise's lair, and Pennywise is like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" Because you have, and I think Travis highlighted it. Pennywise for the first time has an encounter with someone that has a heightened spiritual kind of
Right.
ability, like supernatural abilities, which I don't think Pennywise hasn't ever encountered that before. So it's just like it's like an upping of the ante kind of thing, and I really like that. And so of course Halloran's like, oh, I think we should stop because I feel like something bad is going to happen if we keep pushing this. And yeah, it's just that bleeding into this episode a little bit more. I've really liked how he sees his grandma. His grandma's telling him like you got to keep a lid on it. The shit's about to get real, and he wants to tell. I can't remember his name, but the pilot who moved there with his wife and kid wants to tell him more, but even then he doesn't have all the information. He can't really relay that to him yet. He just knows that they're looking for
Yeah.
whatever this thing is, and it's powerful. But as a character and him using the psychic abilities, you're right. We haven't seen this kind of stuff before, and we don't really know what his limits are. But I'm just really really stoked to see what's gonna happen with this character. Like, is he gonna get that another like direct face off with Pennywise, or what's gonna happen there? But yeah, as much as he's very engaged in what his mission is, and he's very like, yes sir, I'll do it sir, he does it. It's fun to see him too, like he just wants a place to chill
Yeah.
with his friends.
Yeah. Yeah, especially
Yeah.
like in this time period where we've seen that they've kind of sometimes get harassed when they go in like certain public places. So that makes sense. But yeah, I think this is kind of jumping ahead, I guess. But since we're on the Halloran stuff now, and when we get to the interrogation sequence, I liked how intimidating he was in that. Like even just like he cuts to the chase immediately. Where it's like, yeah, you could just tell me what's going on here, or we could do this the hard way, and it's not going to be pain. It's going to be painful. It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for me. We could just save everyone a whole lot of time here, and obviously it doesn't end up going that way. But I just thought that he was very intimidating in that sequence, even though he seems like kind of a sweet, nice guy for the most part. Obviously, he's got like his demons and stuff because this power is, really messes with someone. But I liked that, and I also just from the acting perspective, because to me he's one of like the acting highlights of this show, especially when not a lot of the actors are bringing it, in my opinion. But even just like the things he was doing with his hands and moving around his face as he was like going like trying to dig into this guy's mind, I just thought it was cool and kind of different, because I feel like Professor X or a lot of magic powers, telekinesis, it's always like characters always put their fingers on their temple, right, and then they like can go into someone's head. But I like that he was having to like pull his finger around his face, down his nose, almost like using it like a mask or something. I just thought that was very fun visually. So I enjoyed that part of it. Now the origin story part, I don't know if I enjoyed that part as much, but even like the meta layer of it, of like him going into someone's head. Now he's like going back to this childhood memory that this guy has, and then we're going into like, I guess it's not really a flashback from the kid's perspective. It's more just like us visualizing this tale that's been passed down from generations old, which kind of gives us the backstory of how Pennywise crashed through a star from a star, meteorite, whatever, onto, well, I guess pretty the exact same spot that like that giant hole sewer entrance spot is that we're used to. And then that whole story from there out. But yeah, I in general I really like, just from Halloran's perspective, that element of it. And then even when we cut out of the origin story and I think it's the character's aunt, right? That's the connection there? Or was his grandma? It was his aunt, right?
Aunt.
Yeah. When her eye starts like glitching out a little bit and then her hands freeze up and then Halloran just like pops up behind her, I was like, God damn! Like I love this guy's presence. So I'm definitely in episode 2. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about this character, but now that we've got a couple episodes with him, I'm a big fan of him, and that sequence was really cool.
He felt like he's had a different kind of energy to him, but after this moment here, and he's like clapping, and then he leans in and he smiles, and I'm just like, man, now he's got Pennywise vibes to him, because like, where are the pillars buried? I was like, is this like a weird like flip here? Did Pennywise seep into this now suddenly? But yeah, that whole sequence is pretty cool, and it's neat to kind of get this insight too, and the origin story. I'm with you. I was not expecting. I thought, okay, the episode's wrapping up here, and Madison was kind of like She hasn't watched the first couple episodes, but I caught her up to speed, so she was kind of in and out watching this one a little bit. But she like stepped out of the room, and then it gets in this like millions of years ago. I was like, Madison, you better get back in here. Like I feel like this is gonna have a pretty big impact on like the first movie
Yeah.
and whatnot. So yeah, holy smokes, that's the origin, the Galoo, right? That's what they called it.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Galoom. Maybe there was an M at the end. I couldn't
Galoo,
quite tell. I feel like he always said it a little bit differently, but yeah, the glue, Galoom, something like that.
the Galoo. I wonder
Yeah.
if that's actually something. I'll Google it, but yeah, it was neat. I know like history wise, there's the turtle, which is like the opposite of Pennywise, and they're just kind of like it's the thing that Pennywise fears. But yeah, so this thing waited around in the woods for humans to kind of pop up and appear, right? And eventually it started just eating and was going around everywhere, just killing the humans and whatnot. It got powerful enough once the settlers came, was able to expand even further. But
Hmm.
it seems like its home base was always in the woods, but then the pillars really kept it in the woods, and so the pillars are there, and it can go outside of the pillars, but only. Well, maybe it can't go outside the pillars. I'm assuming Derry is built inside the pillars. That's
I
why
think
it can
so.
kind of,
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, I think because the pillars from our perspective just all looked like wooded areas or whatever, but I think that's just because, the obviously development of the town hadn't happened yet.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense then. And so now we can connect the dots too, with the sense. Okay, the military wants to find the pillars because they want to create like cage it and control this thing against the Soviet Union, which is in itself is a fucking crazy
Yeah.
concept. But I'm on board with it. I think it's so zany,
Yeah.
and it's interesting too. But yeah, so it's cool to kind of have that context now of what's going on, why they're there, and again a little bit more history with Pennywise.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those weird things where like with this idea of like this being like a tradition, like a tale being passed down from generation for like hundreds of years, you would think it would be like a game of telephone where like okay, that information maybe isn't accurate to what it was originally. Like, everyone tells the story a little bit differently to their kid, and then their kid tells that story a little bit differently to the next kid, and then like the story is completely different from what it actually was. But in terms of like the flashback kind of sequence you were getting, it seems like okay, it seems like that tale was passed down pretty accurately. It feels like they're just kind of using this as like an exposition dump to kind of tell us exactly what's going on. I think this sequence is pretty well done visually, but I honestly wasn't into it. For me, I think it's just too much. I kind of want it to remain a bit more mysterious, and now I just feel like it's just so charted out that it takes away some of that mystery, which is inherently some of the frightening aspect of it. And I feel like I just know too much now. Like I wish I could just remove that sequence from my brain and not know about that. So I don't know. We'll see how I develop those feelings, but I feel like now, even when I'm watching it, chapter one, I'll be thinking about like this and the origins with like too much detail, like more than I want personally. So I'm curious to see what other people think about that. If I'm on an island with that one, but I think it was maybe a bit too much information that I would have liked.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it definitely was a dump. I mean, it would have been nice if maybe they even spread that information out a little bit more. That would have been kind
Yeah,
of
we really
cool.
just got it
But
all at once for sure.
we did. And oh, there was a point I wanted to bring up. Oh, I can't remember. Can't remember what I was going to bring up. Shoot, it's
Okay,
eluded me.
it'll come back to you. It'll come back. It always
Yeah.
does.
Hmm.
I liked the
Um,
visual we got of the kind of moose, which was like an early version of Pennywise, I guess, which was before. Because obviously, if you throw a clown at someone hundreds of years ago, I mean, it might be weird looking, but they might not necessarily be scared of it, but like they know what a moose is, and like a freaky moose is a scary thing. So it makes sense that that would be like the situation we got. Whereas now it's like, oh yeah, clowns are inherently a little bit freaky, and if you have an especially scary clown, that makes sense as like just a kind of default state for Pennywise. But obviously, when he like crashed into Earth hundreds and millions of years ago, whatever, it's like, well, obviously he wouldn't be a
it
clown
was just a
then.
T
because
Rex back then.
yeah, there's no concept of what a clown was. So he'd have to be just like a freaky, T-Rex to the other dinosaurs, just eating on all those, whatever, the cortisol blood or whatever heck he was talking about when Will was
Yeah,
explaining
that's
that
right.
he likes to build up the fear because then they taste better, which I liked that. analogy, or not analogy, but I guess that kind of description of him a lot. I thought that was like a really good way to put it. Just had a really visceral imagery to it.
Shout outs to our movie, Adrenochrome.
Shout out to Adrenochrome. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, that's yeah, very cool how it's just taking this form of this moose, and that form shifted too, where when the war, I'm not sure what you would call it, the war crew, the war pack, they went in there because they wanted to basically go. The chief wanted to rescue her daughter. Daughter went in there and took the shard to go and get more pieces of this cage. It was a very sound strategy. Made sense. They want to get more weapons and then and secure it, lock it down. But the war tribe pack went in there and didn't work out because the chief got taken out and daughter almost saved her but wasn't able to in time. And that whole sequence there, though, you get to see the whole pack is being attacked by Pennywise, and Pennywise is taking all these different forms. Yeah, you got the moose in there, and then you've got the other forms. It looks like settlers, but then with the chief, it's like this one notable form of it being this religious father figure, which again, that's a pretty big, that's a big thing too. That makes sense for the time, right? When you have all this conversion going on. So yeah, it's just Travis mentioned too that the director really likes to have these characters, these villains, just kind of like stretch out into these long forms. Because we saw that, I think it was last week when the two kids were after the circus sequence, they were in the woods and the creature like was the creepy man with the one eye, and then it like went into like super long legs form and was charging.
Right.
And so again, that happened with this scene, which this one got me. I feel like it was a bit better CGI too. It really freaked me out.
Yeah, that one you're talking about, I agree. That was a better sequence. And in general, I think that origin story was. It feels like maybe that was something that they knew they wanted from the beginning. Maybe that had a bit more time to cook than some of these other ones that were just kind of coming together. So yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else here. Well, I think let's jump to a quick ad break and we'll be right
Sure.
back. And we are back. So I wasn't able to think that quick on it, but is there any other?
Yeah,
Do you have any other points?
let's jump to the school, and I guess just the kids in general and what's going on with them. So obviously it starts out with them. They have the pictures that they got from last week from the graveyard sequence, and then they've processed the. Was that this episode or last episode where they went into the dark room?
That was
and
last
processed it?
episode.
Yeah, okay. So they did that, but this episode they bring it to the police station to show to the sheriff. They kind of build it up this whole time, and then when he opens the envelope to look at the pictures, Pennywise has obviously like switched out the images for just like, well, one of them is still the same, I guess, but then the other ones have been switched out for, just like images that anyone could have taken and don't really show anything particularly scary. And then even the one that doesn't is seemingly a shot of like Pennywise in clown form. It's like blurry enough that it's like, well, I don't know what that is. It could be anything. Like, we're not gonna go in on that. So that makes sense. I kind of figured like something like that would happen. It wouldn't be quite that easy for them to just grab these. I'm kind of surprised that the ghosts and things even showed up in photographs. I thought that would be the twist, is that when they take these pictures, that just like, the ghosts and whatever are just like not in those pictures at all. But I think once again that kind of makes sense to kind of mess with these kids even more. It makes sense to just wait until they get all the way to police station with this authority figure, and then for that to be like kind of an embarrassing thing, and like maybe make it so that in general the police will probably just not want to trust them going forward. If they bring up more information, right? Because they'll be like, okay, well, last time you brought us these pictures, that meant nothing. So I think that was pretty well done. And then, yeah, I guess we get to like this kind of new crew of 4 people. So Ronnie and what's the main girl's name again? Lily, right? Ronnie and Lily. They've kind of picked up these other 2 guys. Will, who's the son of the other couple that we've seen a lot of, and then this other kid, Rich. I'm not a big fan of Rich. I'm just not liking this acting from him and his little. I guess he's like the comedic relief character, but he's not really that funny. So he's just a character who's in the mix, I suppose. So I'm not a big fan of this new team that we have here. But then we get like this whole middle school sequence where Lily's old friend is kind of talking to her, trying to mend some bridges, but then it turns out that it was like the popular girls just like trying to egg her on and embarrass her. And then that goes into a whole freaking sequence where her eyes start popping out. So have we seen something like that before, where Pennywise just we must have, but I just can't think of an example off the top of my head of
Like
him
where he's
like just
physically altering your.
yeah, yeah. Because he alters things
Hmm.
around people usually, but not necessarily people, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I guess like in this context, he's altering things around. What is the girl's name again? Sorry, I
I
was
think
in the
it's
bathroom
Marge
stall.
or
So
Lily.
he's
Lily's the main
altering.
one. Marge is the like
Lily's
friend,
the
I think.
main. Right. So he's altering the surroundings for Lily. And so Lily sees it. Well, Marge also sees it too. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think he's really altered a person like that before. And again, yeah, it was all fake, of course, just all in her head. But this is what I was talking about earlier. Pennywise, like, it's just that son
Was
of a
it
bitch.
though?
He's just playing it.
Was it in her
Well,
head? I
because
mean,
her I took it as I took it as it was because he was trying to set her up, right? He wanted it to look like she was cuckoo and killing her or attacking her,
I
right?
guess so, but it would be in their head for both of them then, because obviously Marge was seeing something freaky too.
Yes, and so I think it's like, um, again, I can't remember his name, but the father and son, they're out fishing and they both see the balloon, right? And I think,
Yeah.
okay, this is a scenario where they're both
And
seeing
then the
that
dad
same
sees the balloon in
illusion.
the tree later outside the house.
Yeah, yeah, which
So
that's
that
that's the
seems to
scene
be the
that
one
made
thing
me
that everyone
jump.
sees all the time is balloons. That's like
Is balloons.
that's the one that Pennywise will give you. That's the freebie. He's not gonna mess with that.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's. I took it as it was not really a thing because I feel like if you look at the movies too, with the Losers Club, when he's altering the surroundings of the kids can just be like, "It's not real, it's not real, it's not real," and they like conquer their fear, and then the whole scene is back to normal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if she got that pill, that calming down pill into Marge, then would it have just ended,
Oh man.
or did she need to get it into her? Like, did
Well, I
Lily
don't
need
think
to be the one to eat
Lily.
it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that. I guess that was her thought with it, but I guess they both would have needed it, and it seemed like there was only one pill because that was like the drama is that the one pill like fell down the toilet. So I'm not too sure, but that was the sequence I was talking about. That to me just looked very Spy Kidsy and CGI. Like I thought the eye thing looked really goofy, and because of that, not very scary. Now it was still like I was still on the edge of my seat, cringing when she goes up to like the buzzsaw in the wood shop and like chops her expanded eyes off because that's just nasty. And I thought something even worse was going to happen, like her hair was going to get caught in it and like pull her through or something. So it ended up being like not as bad as it could have been. But then for me, it was also extremely goofy when she's on the ground and she has like the knife in her hand, and then like 43 kids walk in that door at the exact same time and like see her with the knife, and then she like holds it like dramatically for like 15 seconds before she drops it. And so I don't know, to me the whole sequence was just a bit too goofy and not quite enough scary, and it really makes me wonder what's going to happen next with this character because as you and Travis talked about last episode, the setup was that 2 episodes ago Lily was going to the I forget what the place is called, but like the mental hospital. But then she was just like out in episode 3 with like we didn't see her spend any. We saw her have one conversation in that place, and then she was just out of it. So it seemed like okay, she was not locked up here, but then they just kind of let her go. But then like, is the result of this going to be that she goes back there, and so then we just like are doing the runaround, going back and forth? I don't really know what to expect with this, because you also think Marge would probably want to defend her and be like, "Oh no, she didn't stab me. Like this was some other thing." But then
You would
maybe the
think
police
that,
won't
but
believe her and think that she's just trying to cover for her friend. But it's like, well, if her friend was trying to stab her in the face, I don't think she would want to defend her. So I don't know what's going to be fallout of this, but to me, it all seemed a little goofy in terms of the execution.
you'd think that, but Marge is absolutely just. I mean, she's gonna probably say like, "Oh no, she attacked me. She's crazy," because she wants to be getting good with the other people, right? So I just feel like she's trying so hard to just betray her friend and just be a bit of a meanie and a bully. So
Yeah, but she was already kind of going back. She was seemingly going to go back on that already in the bathroom, right?
yes,
And
she
then her eyes
was.
started
That's
popping.
that's true. And then her eyes started to pop. Yeah, so she
Do you think
definitely
she was going to go
was.
back, or she's still? was she gonna hold steadfast and go with the popular
I
kid?
think she has no reasonable explanation for what happened, so I think she's just gonna blame it on her friend because she doesn't want to be looked at as a freak. She's so self-conscious as a character,
Yeah,
so I think that's gonna do her in.
yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I'll say that too. The timing of just all the whole school walking in there is just like, it's like when Harry Potter catches what's his name, Mr. Filch's cat, Mrs. Norris hanging upside down, like petrified, and then the
right.
whole school just shows up. He's like,
Yeah,
I didn't do it,
yeah,
it's that timing and all. But they set that scene up good where Marge is just like she grabs the knife and she starts just fucking shanking her head. It's like Jesus Christ, and then she see the
yeah.
buzz saw and she goes up to the saw and then she's up there. So you see her hands are sliding and slipping on the handles. You see her feet are just slipping off the thing because she's too short.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no, oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. Super cringe. So, what do you think will be the fallout there then for Lily? Like, what's your prediction here for next episode?
Well, she's got to rely on her friends to get her out. That's the main thing. So, they just need to
Is
get
she going back
evidence.
to the
But
hospital? Do you think?
after this, I think so. Yeah, she's going back for sure. Which is a shame. I'm sure that they'll
Do
get
you
her
think she'll
out.
get out after 17 minutes like she did last time?
Well, maybe. I guess we'll have to see. If I had to make an early on prediction, I think she's gonna survive. I could see her staying in there, and I don't think the show is going to have the most happiest of endings. I think it's going to leave things very open and ambiguous, and maybe plant the seeds to just think,
For
okay, in
sure.
the next 27 years, we're going to get It Chapter One. That's going to be
Yeah.
when that movie starts, and I think this is just going to wrap up with the military having to abandon the project because they alluded to it too in here, where we got to hurry before the cycle ends, and then that's it, right? So I think that they're going to give up, and when the military leaves, they're going to forget about Pennywise because that's the magic of Derry. You just forget and you move
Mm-hmm.
on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I, I don't know if any of the kids are going to die since that first episode, but I think the kids are just going to kind of disperse and not be in great
Yeah.
places.
I guess we're halfway through. We could see a couple more kills, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a
Hmm.
couple more. Uh-huh. Anything else on the kids? Kids at school? The new squad? Do you like this new squad that we have?
This new squad that we got is. I mean, there's something about the first one that I definitely was on board with, but this one this one definitely has a lot more character to it, and I like that you can feel that they're bonding together and getting together, and I like the military man, his son. I really like him. I like how he's
Yeah,
just kind of
Will.
like figuring
Hmm.
things out. Will, yeah, I'm really really liking his character a lot,
He's
and
smart. He seems super smart for sure.
he is super super smart, and yeah, his kind of like you were alluding to earlier, the adrenaline in the blood and all that kind of stuff, just hunting prey and just how he's figuring things out and whatnot. I like that. And again, that scene again when he's up on his telescope and he's looking at the stars and he's just like aim pans down and he's going and you just see like Pennywise's silhouette behind that tree. I had those goosebumps, man. That just freaked me out. Oh my goodness. So, but again,
Yeah.
that's
You knew it was
converging.
coming, but it was still like, at what second is it gonna happen? So it
Oh,
still
for
got me for
sure.
sure. Yeah.
In that narrative with him and his dad, that's kind of like crossing over now, which I'm happy about because I like that. That's going to be really cool to see how that unfolds with them because I think they're going to bond a bit more about that. And then you've got the narrative with the mom, where she's trying to save the projectionist, right, and
Mm-hmm.
get him all these rights. And I think that's just going to be interesting how that's going to transition because now you have this dynamic with the projectionist where he's like, oh, he's with a white woman and this is just a whole can of
Yeah.
worms and we don't even know who that lady is. So
Yeah, that's the kind of I thought we were building up to that. Like he was gonna say, well, what it started out that he was like, oh, I was with a married woman, and then he was
Mhm.
like, oh, it turns out it was a white one. I thought what he was gonna build up to was like it was the sheriff's wife or something like that, like a specific character. So maybe we will get to that point. Like maybe it'll be, I don't know. Like it seems like to him. Obviously, that alibi is not worth using because it would be worse than if he doesn't use the alibi at all. So
Mhm.
that's obviously not that's why he's doing it, but I wonder if it is like a named character. But yeah, it seems like those connections are becoming a bit more entangled now, where we got this dynamic where the sheriff obviously had this connection with that one indigenous woman from like way back in the day. They were like
Mm.
friends in Derry all these years ago, and now Will's mom Charlotte is kind of hanging out with her, and she got her number, and they're kind of connecting as well. So yeah, and then obviously she goes and talks to the sheriff and kind of gets shut down. So there's like all these kind of like web now of all these way these characters are intertwined and otherwise. So
Hmm.
yeah, I really liked that scene with Charlotte, Will's mom, when she goes back to the police station for the second time, and she's like, "Hey, you gotta let me talk to him," or she just like pretty much threatens him with all these things that I couldn't even recite. I don't know what it was, but she was like spitting fire. It was great. She was like shutting him down big time, and obviously got what she wanted. She got that conversation and a lot of info out of it. So yeah, I like that sequence. I'm really liking that character. I think once again, early on in the show, it's like I don't know where any of these storylines are going. They could go in any manner of directions, but I really like what's going on with her. And there's like always that little bit of tension with her and the husband. Like even at dinner when she was like, hey, we got to do something fun with our son, or like you got to do something fun with your son, and he's like almost giving her like a side eye when she like suggests that, which is like this is not a very big ask, dude. Like chill out. So there's like a little bit of drama there, and then obviously just everything with her going around the town and kind of getting caught a little bit, and then he blames her for like the person that Will saw out the window, which obviously is not the case at all, but obviously that wedge is being driven between them. So I think this dynamic is working pretty well for me. The only thing that I thought was again a little bit cheesy was just how she was like, "Oh, I was just cleaning up your room and I found this hidden drawer filled with the envelope of pictures," and it seemed like okay, and I was like a little bit goofy that she just happened upon this thing, but minor. I'm just picking nits in that situation. It's not a big deal,
Mhm.
so it's I can look past that.
Yeah. Cool.
They, I guess we can talk about that water sequence a bit more when they're going fishing together,
Yes.
which like really good build up there. The tension is building. Like as soon as the dad walks away to go back to the car to get the bait or whatever it was or the string, and then we just get like a couple different camera angles, and there's that one that's like pulled out from like the woods on the side. It's kind of like surrounded by shrubs, and it's just like the kid hanging out in the water. It's like, damn, that was a good just suspense building shot. He turns back, like the water. It's not quite bubbling, but it looks like it's like bubbling. Like obviously the way the stream is building up, it's just building that tension in a good way. And then again, didn't love the CGI when he actually gets pulled under by dad. I thought it looked kind of cheesy, but overall that sequence was pretty good, CGI aside. And yeah, I feel like that is obviously building like some tension between the son and him of just like the thing he fears the most is his dad. I guess like that's the takeaway there, which is not great. But then also his dad kind of came to save the day when he had that scare in the evening when he saw Pennywise out the window. So I don't know, just a lot of different dynamics going on with that family. It's a complex family, man. There's a lot going on with them.
It is. And I mean, I took it a different way where he saw his dad, but his dad was burnt up from the plane crash. And I think he was
Okay.
just afraid of his dad passing from that crash. But
Okay. Good
there's,
interpretation.
I think there's going to be a very interesting kind of fascination here with Pennywise because, like, Pennywise, he can, he feeds off of your fear, and that's how we can get that kill, right? And if you're not afraid of him, well, it's like, well, okay, we got a big problem. So the thing, I think it was episode 2 when Halloran was clocked into his mind a little bit, and they this is after he was able to prove like, okay, the military came at me, my own guys, it was a test to prove I was loyal, all that kind of jazz. And so he knew Halloran was one of the guys wearing a gas mask that was there, and Halloran was in his mind. And so when they're coming to terms with this, and Halloran's like, hey, that place where I'm reading people's minds, they get afraid, they think about their family, they think about regrets, all these different things. But he's like, when I was in your mind, when you're supposed to be thinking about fear, the only thing that was there was your next move, kind of a thing. Like you were analyzing. And I think, okay, well, that's interesting because that's going to be something that plays with Pennywise. Because if Pennywise is always there, he's trying to get your fear. We're like, okay, well, not this guy. This guy is going to be analyzing. And I think, okay, that's why we got that second balloon here. Pennywise doesn't need to be messing around with the parents, right? Like he's messing around trying to get to Will at this point. So for the dad to be seeing the balloons, I feel like, okay, this is Pennywise trying to pull the strings a little bit and maybe fuck with him and try and test and see, okay, where's this fear? Like he doesn't have any, like, and maybe I'm overthinking it and diving a little too deep into it, but that's just where my head is at with it. And I hope that they run with it. I really, really do, because I'd like to see
Yeah.
more of it.
No, it's a good point. Like I feel like it is kind of opposite to what we see with a lot of other dynamics, where usually in the movies, whatever it is, like the kids see something weird, freaky, they bring it up to an adult. Adult doesn't believe them. That's kind of what we get. But in this situation, we've had like two situations back to back where the dad maybe doesn't see this thing exactly, but he's getting like this weird balloon. And obviously, if a balloon is floating sideways, that is already weird because like that's not how balloons work. So he's already freaked out there, and then obviously has that sequence where okay, there's someone outside the house, and now there's that balloon back in the tree. So it's kind of confirming that his son is seeing something weird and there is something off. And so yeah, like why is Pennywise doing that? Why is he like kind of leaving this evidence here? Especially like someone who's connected with the military and the police and like has all these connections. It seems like that's not the person you'd want to, I don't know, leave the thread to get pulled on. So I think interesting dynamic there, and something kind of different than we're getting from like the other parents or other just like adults in general in this show.
Yeah, yeah, it is. That just to cap it off for me, that river scene, yeah, it was great. As soon as the dad leaves and just the tonal shift, it's like, oh man, it's just something's coming. And I thought it was gonna be the fish that was gonna turn into something weird, but they got me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the fish was gonna jump out and have like the big Pennywise chompers, like piranha style, and just attack him. But it was something freakier than that.
Yeah, cool. Anything else you want to highlight?
Are we forgetting anything? I think that was all this catching up. I think that was everything pretty much, right?
I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good then.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, thank you for tuning in. We're going to be back next week with episode 5, and we'll see if one of us is missing on that episode.
Maybe Kirkland will show up, even though he hasn't watched the show.
Yeah. All 3 of us will be gone, but it'll just be a Kirkland solo.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. But anyways, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you in the search bar. Have a good one.
Good night.